Howdy, all you cool cats and kittens. It's Carol at Big Cat Rescue.
And just kidding, it's Juice Beats back again with another race video. And this one is the Dalton Grand Prix in Dalton, Georgia. Picking up the footage here going into the third lap of the race. There are 6 laps of this 56-mile race. And this is the 3-4 field. And we started about 8:30 in the morning. Before I get going, the stats for the race are obviously 56 miles in this road race, so 6 laps around a 9-mile course. 25.6 miles per hour in the race. I averaged 217 watts, 302 normalized, and a 1399 max in this race. And I'm racing with a new team in this race, so I think I mentioned it before in the Nationals race, but I'm racing with Grind City Racing out of Memphis. I do have 1.5 other teammates, and I say 1.5. Chris is actually in this race as well, so Terrell is my teammate, and Chris is my teammate as well, but he was technically kind of still riding for Nashville local, I guess you could say. I think there's only like one other Nashville local guy in the race, and I think he was a junior, so technically I guess that didn't really count, but yeah. So that's why I say I have 1.5 other teammates in this race, but really didn't play out the way that I expected it in this race. So anyway, there are some other teams. The Mustangs are a big presence in this race as well. There was a Miami team that I remember, and the Mac team out of Atlanta was in there, and I believe there was a few others as well. I can't think of their names at the moment, but you guys can let me know in the comments there if you were part of this. But anyway, the footage. So I switched up my footage a little bit throughout the race. So I switched from 60 frames a second to 24 frames a second. And the reason I did that was to show a little bit more of the speed. Like, I think the 60 frames a second was a little too smooth for a lot of the races that I've been doing, and it doesn't really show the actual speed of the race and how it went. So I think 24 frames it's going to get that motion blur. It's going to look really nice, and it's going to show you a little bit more of how the speed went throughout the race. So that's why I made that change. So I'm running DJI Osmo in the front and a GoPro in the back, and they both have ND filters. I don't think I had the correct ND filter on the front though, because some of the footage got a little bit bright, so I probably needed to put a 32 instead of a 16 on there, but still looks okay. But anyway, enough of the technical stuff. That is that's the fun part of putting together these videos, and yeah, I like to play around with that kind of stuff. But anyway, so a little bit about this race. So I talked about, it's a 9-mile course. We do 6 laps, so 56 miles there. I did this one last year, and the field last year I think was about 30 or so. This year it's about 50, so a lot more players in this race, a lot more people to get around. From what I remember last year, it was a little bit easier to kind of move up in certain spots. Here it was nearly impossible sometimes to move up. Just 3 and 4 wide a lot of times, and you can see even if I tried to squeeze up here in between these guys, there really isn't any room for me to go unless I'm just, elbowing people or whatever. So I am, I'm just trying to buy my time throughout this race and try to fit in where I can and move up where I can. Didn't get the greatest start in the race. For some reason, I just couldn't put my foot in the damn pedal, and kind of put me back. I was already in the middle or towards the back actually of the start. But yeah, kind of had to make my way up, and I'm sitting maybe like in the back fourth-ish. But I'm not in terrible position because I'm right there with the Mustangs. My teammates are just maybe up in the front half a little bit, so you will see them a little bit later. You'll be able to I'll point them out in the race as well. But yeah, I do move up, so I move up from this position, which is, you know, maybe the back half or back fourth or something like that. Can't really tell. It looks like there's a bunch of guys behind me though, but I do move up from this position.
Mile 21 here, I'm sitting on Duke's beach wheel. Brake vest, surge vest here. Dalton, Georgia. Riding for the Mustang for the first time. You don't even need the commentary on it, Juice.
So that was Dale. He's riding with the Mustangs. He's actually, I guess, a guest rider for them in this race, but I think he's joining with them. He was on Nashville Local throughout this year, but I think he's a really good addition for them. Big guy, strong guy, just moved up to Cat 3 recently and doing big things for them. So anyway, so Matt Manley's on my left there of the Mustangs as well. And then you could see, like, we came out of that last turn pretty tough, pretty hard right here. Both of those turns there, it seemed like we come out, we'd push it, you know, over 1,000 watts, and then kind of have to slow down here. And that was kind of how it was throughout the race. Very surgy at different points. I felt like there were times where we should have been going faster, specifically like down hills. We were going fairly slow. It felt like we were having to brake going down hills a lot of times, and then we were very punchy going up hills, but as soon as we caught up, it was like we had to slow down very, very quickly. So yeah, he was talking about the surginess of the race, and that's kind of how it was throughout the race. We had a lot of weird surges throughout, and because I'm not at the front here, I couldn't really tell what was going on at the front. I do remember that there were some attacks and things that went on at the front. Nothing that got too far. I want to say maybe 15 seconds at the most that I remember. But for the most part, any attacks that went, everybody was kind of responding to them very, very quickly. And yeah, I mean, you can see, like, we're moving pretty well throughout this course. So yeah, if anybody was trying to get away, it was going to be a big hero effort if you wanted to try to move away from the group here. And if you remember from my last video, if you haven't seen it, it is on my channel. Just look up the Dalton Grand Prix 2023 race. A couple guys went off at the front of that race very early on, I think after maybe a lap or so in the race, and they stayed away for a long time, but they only got maybe 50 seconds at one point. So they stayed away for a while, but yeah, they were just kind of dangling out there, and we kept them I guess pretty close to the rest of the peloton throughout the race. They eventually got swallowed up there, but yeah, this one, nobody was getting away. Everybody was on it. Everybody was trying to stay together, which kind of sucks for this kind of race with 50 guys in it and not a whole lot of room to maneuver, and just having the yellow line rule in effect at the same time. It makes for a very tough race to move up. So positioning is very key for this race. And if you started out towards the front, you lined up and stayed there, you did a pretty good job in this race. The rest of us that had to work up trying to get to the front, it was very daunting, to say the least. All right, so we're getting ready to go into our fourth lap. This is the final stretch going into the start-finish straight. and we're probably about a couple kilometers out from it at the moment. But you can see just ahead of me in the colorful jersey, that's Terrell. That is one of my teammates, so I have made my way up to him. He was a little bit further up in the peloton. So that's who I am trying to get with at this point in the race. We still have a few more laps to go, obviously, but I do want to stay close to my teammate and try to work our way up the best we can throughout this race here. We really didn't have any team tactics going into the road race. That was more, I think we talked about more of the crit. The road race was kind of just make our way to the front and try to see what plays out from there. And yeah, so our tactics really, I mean, this is our first time racing together as a team, so we really didn't have anything planned, I guess, for this. I know my plan was to kind of follow the guys that I know that are strong. So Donovan on the Mac team, he won it last year, so I wanted to keep an eye on him, and then obviously keep an eye on the Mustangs. And then there's another guy, Hunter. He is, I believe, on the American team. If I see their jerseys, I'll point him out, but he is up at the front, and I think he put in a few attacks here and there. But he's super strong, and I think he's from around Knoxville. So a guy that I've ridden with maybe a couple times, but I know that he's super strong. He won the 80 miler that I did not too long ago, the Pedal for Alzheimer's Fondo that we did not too long ago. So I know that he's super strong, and he can go the distance on rides like this. So definitely got to watch out for him, but he is up at the front, and he's making moves. So yeah, you may or may not see him on the footage on here or not. So but I'll point him out if I do see him throughout here. So here we go. I moved up, talking to Terrell here about some strategies or whatever stuff that I'm seeing throughout the race, and we are talking about who to get behind. Charles right there in the white kit just ahead next to Matt Manley. He's a fairly new rider, but he's super strong. I've ridden with him a couple times. He's also in Knoxville. He's just getting into racing, but he definitely has some strong legs. So he's a good guy to get behind and a good guy to draft behind, because he's a bigger guy as well. But Terrell and I are over here talking about strategy and what we can do to kind of move up. He was up there probably in the top 10 wheels, and kind of just move back a little bit for the time being. But we were just talking about ways to move up, because it's kind of hard on these stretches right here to move up, just because of how wide everybody's getting, and basically blocking where you can move up. But a lot of times I was noticing some of the turns that we were taking, there was times where we could shuffle and move up. So that's what I was talking about. And then, of course, he moves up, and then I couldn't get on the wheel right there quick enough before somebody else filled in that slot. And that happened a lot to me during this race, where, things like that would open up, and then, I wanted to slot over, and I just couldn't because somebody was blocking where I was trying to go. Everybody kind of had the same idea, I guess, moving up when you can. So that was one of the things, like, as soon as the slot opened up like that, that's where you had to move up. And if you weren't quick enough, somebody else was going to take it. So that happened to me a lot during this race. So here we go on the fifth lap, and I'm sitting probably mid-pack at this point-ish. Maybe back middle, but I'm sitting behind Charles, so good wheel to fall, good draft right here. Definitely want to move up from this point, but I'm seeing a lot of the guys that I know are going to be there at the end, like Donovan just ahead there in the Mac jersey, and then Mustang's just ahead right there. So I'm seeing guys that are still, you know, kind of back with me at this point, and I'm not too worried, I guess, but I am getting a little bit antsy. Like I want to make my way up a little bit closer to the front. My teammate Terrell is up there, so I do know, like I haven't lost sight of him or anything, but definitely want to be up a little bit closer than I am at the moment. So I've got to move up a little bit better here and make, you know, better decisions, better positioning here in just a second. But not necessarily a bad position where I'm at this point in the race. Like we still have a long way to go. But yeah, maybe it's too late at this point to start thinking about moving up, but when I see people that, you know, could or should be there at the end, you know, for the sprint, then, you know, it doesn't bother me too much, because maybe I can move up with them, or, you know, grab onto one of their wheels and make it up to the back here. All right, so moving forward just a little bit more, and keep an eye on the left there, just ahead. There's Logan of the Mustangs, and I believe Dale is just right in front of him. But you know, they're on the outside near the yellow line there, and you know, trying to move up, trying to make my way up to the front here. Yeah, probably sitting around the mid-pack-ish at this point in the race. So, you know, I see the Mustangs team, good tactics. They are slowly like moving up towards the front there, and you'll see in just a minute that they do make their way to the front. And one of the things, you know, when you're in the peloton, you're listening to some of the other guys, you're talking, you're having, you know, conversations or whatever, but kind of over here, like they're going to move up over there on the yellow line area. I'm not sure exactly when, but that, you know, they said they're going to, you know, move their positioning up on that yellow line. I hear that, but you can see that I'm kind of boxed in from where I'm at right now. I'm trying to take up some lanes or whatever, trying to make sure people can't pass me, but I'm also trying to figure out how I can get back over into their train at this point, because, you know, I know that from just what I'm seeing over there, they are moving up pretty quickly, and that's where I want to be. I don't want to be back in the middle. I want to be closer to the front, you know, in those front you know, front 10 wheels or so. So I need to be where they're going, basically. And yeah, I'm kind of boxed in, and like I said before, you know, just any time that I tried to move up or, you know, tried to change my positioning a little bit, it was getting closed in, or somebody was filling in that spot really quickly so that I couldn't. So I'm looking over to my left, and you can kind of see in the back camera there, you know, somebody was already moving up into that spot there. So trying over here on the right and see what happens. So I think of the peloton as like a school of fish, I guess. You know, you got the fish just kind of moving around all together and everything, but you'll see like certain fish just kind of rotating in and around their school there, and that's kind of how this is, like just trying to find a positioning, and I'm rotating around trying to figure out where I can go. This really, I don't think this would be that much of a problem if we could use the entire road, but obviously they can't close down all these roads for a Cat 3 race, Cat 3, Cat 4 race. That would be nice, but yeah, it would definitely change the dynamic of this race. The race would definitely have more attacks and things as well. So I think this is when they make up their move. This is one of the last turns. This is the S kind of turn into the final straight there, and you can see they were outside the yellow line, but you can do that on the turn because, you know, we're getting protected by the police and all that stuff right there. But yeah, I think they moved up a few spots there to try to get up just outside that yellow line there. Was it there? A little bit there. moved up a few spots, but I think they do it a little bit better on one of these other turns that I remember. So they're still kind of sitting in the same spot as I am at the moment. So haven't made their move quite yet, but we're going into the last lap. This is the final straight going into the start finish. So yeah, I believe that move is coming, if that hints at anything. Okay, so they haven't quite moved up yet, but just a couple bikes over, I believe, is Dale. And yeah, I mean, we're sitting, looks like midway again. So sitting mid-pack again, need to move up. Obviously, last lap, my teammate is like 3 bike lengths in front of me. So I'm trying to make my way up to him. He's sitting in a decent spot. I'm rubbing elbows right there, so I get a little jittery. But yeah, things are getting a little bit dicey. Everybody's fighting for position at this point in the race as well. But yeah, Mustangs are doing a good job of bullying their way through. See him, he's moving up there in the middle. And yeah, they're making their way up to the front there. Should have been on his wheel, but I'm kind of stuck over here on the right. And then a lot, this happened a lot too. Several riders that I guess were lapped were, going slow on the right side. So if I was on the right side, I'd have to kind of move over. And, I thought I had some positioning to kind of move up at a point, and then I would kind of lose that positioning because we're lapping riders. So that definitely hurt throughout the race. There was like a few laps where we would pass a rider like that, and I'd have good positioning, and I'd be able to move up, but then I'd have to move over for that lap rider, and then it kind of put me out of position a little bit here. So getting shuffled around, trying to look for these points when we turn, just like we did, to move up a couple spots here and there. There's Charles just ahead, so good wheel to follow if he's going to be moving up here. I probably should bully my way up in between these guys here, but I'm being a little cautious. It looks like there's room, but really it's like it's closing in. You can see like you could possibly fit 4 guys right there, but me being a little bit wider, I didn't want to chance it, so I was kind of waiting for my chance to move up like I did just now. And yeah, the Mustangs are doing a really good job of pushing their way up there to the front. I'm not in terrible position. I'm still sitting in that front half of the race, but a little boxed in from where I'm at. And nobody wants to give up position here. Nobody wants to let you go through. So I've got to pick my points of moving up very wisely at this point in the race, obviously going into this last lap and everything. We still got a ways to go. We're over 10,000 meters, and there's still points to move up. We've got a turn coming up here in just a minute, so that could be a point where I could move up a little bit. I can see my teammate a few lengths ahead of me still, so I'm not sitting too far back. But definitely want to move up positions a little bit more than where I'm at. It's always good to be in that top 10, especially with a big field like this and the way things have going, being closed in and everything. Just don't want to be, boxed in at the end of the race too much where I can't, get through this thing. But let's see what happens on this turn right here that I was talking about. So punching it out of there, over 1,200 watts. We're flying out of there. It seemed like every turn was like that. Like we would punch it out of there. This was a kind of a downhill as well, so we gained a lot of speed going downhill, but also punching it out of there. And I was hoping that I could move up even more here. Doing a decent job, I guess, moving up here, and then yeah, finally hit my teammate's wheel. So. Now we just need to do a good job of moving up even more here, and I got to stay right there on it. So I think I let him know that I'm right behind him at this point in the race, so he knows I'm right behind him. And yeah, so now we need to move up together. This was, I think we ended at like 2 hours and 10 minutes or something like that. So fairly fast race, and yeah, fairly long race, but for the most part, like it didn't feel like terrible or anything like that. I didn't have any warm up before the race because it was so early, and you know, I couldn't get my registration number before, like the day before or something like that. So I had to get it the day of and pulled up to park and everything for the race, and had to get my registration number. But there was a long line of people. And there goes Charles. He's moving up. He made that nice move right there on the outside, which is something that I probably should have done right there as well. Just followed him up there. But anyway, had to get my number, you know, waiting in a long line. And when I finally got it and got ready and everything, we were basically ready for the race. So had to kind of jump in without any warm up. So my first couple laps, I guess you could say, were a warm up for me. But really, it was just like, I just had to stay in, and then, you know, once I stayed in there, I was fine. It didn't really matter that I didn't have like a actual warm up or anything of the race. But that was a good place to move up and shoot. I'm giving away spots here, opening up that outside a little too much, giving away a couple spots there. I need to make those spots back up. Not good. Can't give away those easy ones like that. But here we go, all bunched up, going slow for some reason. I think this was a little bit of there was like a little bit of a hill there, but then we start going downhill, and I think I remember squeezing brakes right here, and I'm like, why are we squeezing brakes going downhill again? A lot of brakes being pulled there, and I'm too timid, I think, to move up on that outside. Like I didn't want to be like right on the side of the road there, for whatever reason. Like just kind of maybe watching the body language of some of the guys in front of me. They were, you know, they would open up those spots and then kind of drift over into it a little bit more. So I didn't want to take the chance of trying to go over there and then end up in the grass or something like that. So being a little timid, not necessarily a bad thing, but yeah, obviously if you want to bully your way up, that's kind of what you have to do. You have to take those chances, and I just wasn't willing to do that in this race. I've been hit the deck in my last race before this, so I didn't want to hit the deck again, even though the grass probably would have felt much better than the road. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of, you know, one of the things I also think about during the race is, you know, I'm not necessarily thinking about crashing, but I'm thinking about, you know, rider safety, I guess. Trying to be safe, moving up when I can, and not being the super aggressive rider that, you know, takes other riders down because, you know, I'm trying to move up positions and things like that. And I don't know, maybe that'll change in the future or whatever, but I'm, you know, I'm not willing, you know, I've got a family and all that stuff, and I'm not willing to take a whole bunch of people down or risk my safety just because I need to move up a couple positions in a race. You know, I'm going to do it the safe way and try to move up. I try to call out right there, moving up on the right, but he closed that down really quick. So here we go, going into the last turn, into the start-finish straight, trying to make a position still sitting kind of in the middle, and we've got this right here, right in front. Guys go off-road, a little bumping, a little grinding, and there's my teammate right there. So I'm with my teammate. We are sitting a little too far back for comfort. I think we're in the top 20 or so wheels maybe. But yeah, just definitely still want to be a little bit closer. Mustangs have made their way all the way to the front there. So they've done a really good job of making sure that they put themselves in good position. So I believe it's Dale and Matt Manley up there up front. Logan is right there to my left. And I don't know what happened with that guy. He kind of, I don't know, braked and then went way back. But the name of the game right here is trying to move up. And obviously this might be a late positioning thing, but you still got to try to do your best here in the last couple kilometers. And here we go. I will remember from last year being in the middle a little bit and not wanting to be there, and I'm trying to get to the outside over here so that I can possibly sprint a little bit and open it up when we do, or when we're able to open it up here. You can see it's getting a little dicey. People are going outside the yellow line. Somebody just went from outside the yellow line, which is illegal at this point in the race. So there goes the official. He's gonna flag him and pull him out and DQ him there. But the only time that you can go outside the yellow line is at the 200 meter mark, which is coming up here at the cones. And so I'm sitting here with my teammate. We're sitting in the top 20-ish wheels or so like that. And he's a Cat 4. I'm a Cat 3. So I think there's a bigger Cat 3 presence up here at the front. But he's doing a good job of moving up. I'm trying to move up, weave through people, staying right behind his wheel there, and there it is. It just chaos at the end. Nowhere for me to really go and really like get up to sprint there. Like there was no point in me trying to really sprint. So just kind of floating in right behind those guys there. It was it was chaos, kind of a little boxed in, trying to maneuver around different places. But yeah, I mean, not having that yellow line rule until the last 200 meters kind of makes a big difference. But Matt Manley ended up winning from the Mustang, so they did a really good job of making their way up to the front. Kind of pointed out different points where they were just like bullying their way up to the front there, and they did a good job of making their way up there and sticking up there. And Matt Manley ended up going first on the sprint and beating everybody, I think by a couple bike lengths. So really good job by them. And that was a tough race, but at the same time, like. It's all about positioning and making sure that you are in those top 10 wheels towards the end there. And anyway, I believe I finished out in the top 25 of the group, and I believe I finished 14th in the Cat 3s. So not too bad. I think I got 6th last year. Dale ended up 4th overall, and like I said, Matt Manley first. Hunter Hoskins he finished out 3rd in the Cat 3s. Like I said, he was another strong rider, also from Knoxville. My teammate Terrell ended up getting 7th in the Cat 4s, so really good job by him. Being up there close to the front, and even though we had to kind of cruise in there at the end, still finished out with a good finish there in that race. So right after this race, I went back to the hotel, got a little bit of rest, a little bit of something to eat, and ended up doing the TT as well. I don't have any footage from the TT because I kept the cameras off the bike so that I'd have a little bit lighter bike for that TT, and just so I go maybe a little bit faster, with it being a solo race. Tried to do everything I could to be a little bit more aero in that one. I finished out in the TT 8th overall in that one. I actually felt pretty decent on the TT. I was on my road bike. I don't have, a special bike or anything like that. I think the top 3 finishers and maybe a few others actually had TT bikes. So it didn't feel bad about that, because those TT bikes are like cheating when you're out there on that course. They are super fast, and only a few people actually passed me on those things. So yeah, and that was my first TT ever. So I didn't really practice or plan for it beforehand. So just going out there, putting down the power, and trying to muscle through that TT was, something pretty cool for me, I guess, to get an idea of how a TT would actually go. But the actual stats for that race, let me pull those up real quick, because they're pretty decent, I think. I averaged 24 miles an hour, 290 watts with a 302 normalized and a 953 watt max on that one. So I felt pretty good about the stats on that one. That one, obviously, like I said, I didn't really plan for or practice for anything like that. So, going out there and doing that for the first time and not really practicing for it, I felt pretty good about, and had pretty good power overall for that TT, going out there at, especially after a long road race like that too. So anyway, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you know when I post videos. And got the crit race coming up. I'm gonna, work on that video as well and get that out to you guys. So anyway, I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.